In this lesson, we're going to be looking at directed numbers. Let's start by a quick look at the number line. We know that when we draw a number line, we put arrows on both ends, and that indicates that the number line will continue in both directions, irrespective of whereabouts we place the number line. 0, I'm going to put in the middle of my number line. So if I count in this direction, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I go in this direction, I get -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. And of course, in between these whole numbers, there are fractions as well. The smaller numbers are at the left-hand end of a number line, and the larger ones are on the right. So -5 is a smaller number than -1, whereas we know that 5 is a larger number than 1. 0 is neither positive nor negative. Number lines can always be useful when working with positive and negative numbers, or directed numbers as they're known. So never be afraid to draw one. Let's look at some rules to do with multiplication and division. If we have a positive number and we multiply that by a positive number, the result is positive. We know this. If we do 4 times 3, we get 12. 4 is positive, 3 is positive, and 12 is positive. If you do a positive and you divide by a positive, then the result is also positive. If we have a negative and we multiply by a negative, the result is positive. And a negative divided by a negative gives a positive result. So basically we can group these and say if the signs are the same, so either both positive or both negative, then we get a positive result. And that's the same whether we're multiplying or dividing. However, a positive multiplied by a negative gives us a negative. A positive divided by a negative gives a negative. A negative multiplied by a positive gives a negative, and a negative divided by a positive gives a negative. And we can group these. If the signs are different, i.e. we have one positive and one negative, it doesn't matter which order, then we get a negative result. So same signs always give us a positive, different signs always give us a negative. We now want to evaluate these. I always suggest 2 steps. First of all, here we have a positive multiplied by a negative. Different signs, so I know the result will be negative. Once I've decided that, all I need to do is 4 times 2, which is 8. Here I have a negative times a negative. Having the same sign means the result will be a positive. You can either put the positive there or just leave it. If a number doesn't have a positive, like this 2 here, then we assume that's a positive number. Then all we need to do is 15 times 3, which is 45. Here we have a negative divided by a positive. The signs are different, so I know the result will be negative. And then do 16 divided by 2, which we know is 8. Now these numbers are quite big. You're not going to be expected to do this without the calculator. Whenever you put a negative number into the calculator, put it in brackets. So I'm going to put in negative 954 and close the bracket. Then we'll divide, open the bracket, by negative 18. And that gives me 53. A negative divided by a negative should give a positive, so that seems to have given me the right sort of thing. We're now going to look at adding and subtracting with directed numbers and this problem of adjacent signs. But basically the rule for adjacent signs is exactly the same as it was for multiplying and dividing. If we have adjacent positives, that will mean it's a plus. And adjacent negatives would also mean a plus, like this one here. So once again, if the signs are the same, you get a plus, but if the signs are different, you get a minus. So here, this one will just become 5 plus 6 because of the positive positive, so that's 11. Whereas here we have negative 10, then the adjacent signs are different. So that's going to become a negative, so it's going to be negative 10 take away 3. Use a number line if you have to. Here's negative 10, and if we're taking away 3, we'll go 3 to the left. So that's going to take us to negative 13. Start with a negative 10. Note that nothing that goes on here can affect this sign here. Negative, negative, same signs, that's going to become a plus. So it's negative 10 plus 6. If we add 6, then we're going this way. So that's going to give us negative 4. The adjacent signs are the same, so that's going to be 5 plus 2, which is 7. Here we have different adjacent signs, so that's going to be 3, take away 4, and these are different as well, take away 5. So if we start at 3 and we take away 4, we're going to be at negative 1. And then we need to take away 5, so that's going to take us to negative 6. Now we want to evaluate these. Order of operations is important here, so remember BIMDAS. Here we have a multiplication and a subtraction. So the multiplication gets done first. So that's going to give us 3, take away negative 2 times 4. Negative times a positive, so that would be negative. 2 times 4 is 8. The adjacent signs here are the same, so that's going to become a plus. And we get 11. Here, the index or power is going to need to be done first. Negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. Then we have take away negative 1. Adjacent signs the same, that's going to become a plus. And that gives us 10. Here the contents of the bracket need to be done first. 3 take away negative 2. That's going to become 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Times that by 4 gives us 20. Note when squaring on a calculator, as with the negative 3 squared here, it's really important that you put the negative into brackets. So negative 3 squared is 9, as we worked out before. If you don't do that, then you'll find that you get negative 9 because it does the squaring first and then takes the negative of it.